You're going to hear a lot of headlines over the next few months. It's actually going to ramp up. And it may sound like they apply to everyone. More supply, softer market, or you might even hear prices coming down. And I just want you to hold on to one very important word before you let any of it really seep into your psyche or, more importantly, help you plan. And that one word is context. It's so important because no headline can tell you what's happening in your local market. Let me give you an example, a very localized example. Now, I live in the Fairfax County section of Alexandria. We have a postal address that says Alexandria, but it's in Fairfax County. That's a whole nother episode. We'll get to that. But in Alexandria and Fairfax County versus Washington, D.C. Now, these two areas, some parts, are only 8 miles-ish apart. That's a bike ride, my friends. And these two markets could not be more different right now. DC has a little over 4 months worth of supply or 4 months worth of inventory to satisfy the current buyer demand. And the city of Fairfax County, the county of Fairfax County is what I'm trying to say. Fairfax County and the city of Alexandria. Oh, that's a much different supply ratio. That looks more like less than 2 months in the city of Alexandria. Those are wildly different markets to operate, buy, or sell in. Only about 8 miles apart. So when you hear inventory is up, ask this: compared to what? Or you hear supply is rising. I want you to ask, compared to when? I want you to ask, where, which markets, for which type of home? Because a CNBC headline, shout out to Diana Olick, she's the greatest, shout out to Diana. But a CNBC headline, they have to speak to the masses. And that headline, while it can be technically correct by the data, by the numbers, it can be totally irrelevant to you. It can be totally irrelevant if you're a single family home buyer in Northern Virginia. Supply is increasing here. Yes, true. But we're talking about from trough lows. So let's tackle the first headline you might be hearing, and that is that supply is increasing. True or false? True or false, in our area, supply is increasing? Technically true for Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia, but just barely in Northern Virginia. We're basically running flat, maybe slightly above last year, which are technically, historically trough lows. And here's the part the headlines skip. The small increase may not even be affecting you. So yes, inventory as a whole nationwide is up technically, but in a lot of cases that increase is nominal. It's close to flat, especially when it comes to single family detached homes. And in desirable or sought after neighborhoods, it isn't flat. It's maybe flat, slightly down. Certainly not enough inventory or supply to put downward pressure on prices, especially in an area that has 2 months or less of supply or inventory. And for context, 4 to 6 months worth of supply or inventory is considered a more balanced market, depending on what your numbers are. But if you start getting into the ranges of 4 to 6 months, you have a little bit more healthy back and forth and leverage. Everybody's got some kind of leverage somewhere. So total, all types and styles of inventory in DC is improving. But Northern Virginia has some very inventory constrained pockets. So here's the point to take away. Headlines don't help you. Local context does. So when you hear a national headline, or even a regional one for that matter, don't assume that applies to you, your market, your type, your style of home. The better questions, those sound like what's happening in my micro market, my zip code, my neighborhood, even sometimes my friends, my side of the street. It isn't that localized because the market, it's really plural. There is no one market. The market is always plural. So that is your insight for this week, early to mid-July 2026. If you want the questions that I think matter, especially at the start of a real estate journey, there is a link to some free downloads in the description, in the YouTube description. Feel free to go get them. And if you've got a question you would like me to answer, leave it below and subscribe to stay inside the move.